Hi everyone, and welcome to F-Bomb Friday. I am your host, Tracy Preston, along with my husband, Todd. Hey, hun.
Hey, baby.
Are you ready?
I am ready.
Let's hit it. Langsburg, Michigan, a charming city nestled in Shiawassee County. This lovely community boasts a strong sense of small-town appeal, rich history, and natural beauty with its picturesque downtown area. Langsburg offers a warm and welcoming atmosphere, perfect for strolling along its streets and discovering local shops, restaurants, and services. The city is surrounded by rolling hills, lush farmland, and serene waterways, providing ample opportunities for outdoor recreation and appreciation of nature's splendor. Residents and visitors alike can enjoy a range of activities from fishing and boating to hiking and exploring the great outdoors. The community spirit shines through in its various events and festivals, which bring people together to celebrate the city's heritage, music, and culture. With its friendly residents, scenic surroundings, and small town charm, Langsburg is truly a hidden gem in the heart of Michigan. But, and you knew there would be a but, beneath the idyllic surface of Langsburg's quaint streets and rolling hills, a shroud of mystery and foreboding lingers. The town's lovely facade belies a dark and haunting legend, one that whispers tales of unknown and strikes fear into the hearts of those who dare to listen. The legend of Dr. Blood and the Blood Cemetery. This urban legend is one of Michigan's most famous ghost stories that surrounds itself around one family, the Blood family, and in particular, a Dr. Blood from the mid to late 1800s. No one is quite certain what the good doctor's first name is, as it seems to vary, but Daniel is mentioned often, so we'll go with Daniel. Dr. Daniel Blood came from a very prominent and wealthy family. As the story is told, Dr. Blood, his wife, and 4 children lived in a mansion which over the years would be referred to as the Blood House. As many wealthy families had done during this time, a family cemetery was built next to the mansion. Daniel, his wife, and all 4 children have since passed, but there is no mention of how the children died, but the cause was likely from common illnesses of the time, such as tuberculosis, scarlet fever, diphtheria, smallpox, or typhoid fever. All 4 children were laid to rest in the Blood family cemetery. Now, losing a child is one of the most devastating experiences a parent can endure, let alone losing all 4 of your children. It can lead to a wide range of emotional, psychological, and physical effects. At some point, Dr. Blood succumbed to madness, perhaps due to the grieving of the loss of his children, perhaps the stress of his wife's lament, or both. or something different altogether. To be clear, Dr. Daniel Blood had lost his mind. In a fit of insanity, Dr. Blood shot and murdered his wife with a shotgun in the family barn. As if that wasn't gruesome enough, he then chopped her up into pieces with an axe. Within a brief moment of soundness of mind, realizing what he had done, he feared punishment for his heinous transgression that he just committed. He walked to the family cemetery, rope in hand, tied a strong knot around a large tree branch, slipped his head inside a noose, and stepped off, hanging himself. Since that tragic day, the property where the Blood Mansion once stood and the cemetery is said to be haunted. Years later, in the 1960s, a group of teenagers seeking thrills on their prom night decided to visit the old mansion and the cemetery. They romped through the gravestones for a while, trying to scare each other for a good laugh. At some point, one of the boys was dared to enter the creepy abandoned mansion by sneaking through a window. Wanting to appear brave, he accepted their challenge. Heart racing, felt like he could barely breathe. The young man was in the house for quite a while, and when the other teens called to him again and again, but nothing in response. After an hour or so, the friends became very concerned, but none of them were brave enough to enter the mansion to look for their friend. So instead of going to find him, they decided to go to the police in the nearby city of DeWitt. That's our town, hon.
That's our town.
The policeman, believing to be playing in on the teenage prank, explained to the kids that the ghost of Dr. Blood did not take kindly to trespassers. Needless to say, they didn't find the humor in the officer's comment and were visibly upset. The officer agreed to check the property, the officer in his patrol car, with the teens following behind. When they all arrived, the entire mansion was on fire. Hours later, after the fire was extinguished, firefighters discovered the charred remains of the boy that was inside. His hands and feet had been bound. Next to his lifeless body lay a shotgun and a bloody axe. The following morning, police discovered a freshly dug grave in the cemetery. They exhumed the grave and found an old pine coffin. Its contents, you may be wondering? The dismembered corpse of Mrs. Blood. These next accounts were submitted by a man named Drew, and they span from his teenage years into his late 20s. At the age of 15, Drew first heard of the tale of the boy who lost his life in the burning mansion at a campfire party at Lake Michigan. Ghost stories were being told, and a young lady he'd never met before or since told the story and claimed to be one of the teens of that group. 2 years later, Drew and a couple of his friends wanted to check out the cemetery for themselves. They attempted to spook each other at the graveyard, but then one of Drew's friends screamed, claiming to have seen a figure in a long red dress coming straight toward him. The teens, good and freaked out, decided it was time to leave, but not before stealing the blood cemetery sign. The next morning, the sign was gone. The teens drove back out to the cemetery, and the sign, well, that was right back in its original place, as if it had never been disturbed. Years had passed, and Drew was talked into visiting the cemetery yet again. This time, the group discovered a large glass encasement on a grave containing a dozen long stem roses. Just about at that moment, they heard a shotgun blast. They ran to their car, finding the windows were shattered and bullet holes in the vehicle. And needless to say, they got the hell out of there immediately. Again, years later, Drew returned to the cemetery, this time with his girlfriend, on the back of his motorcycle. They stayed for a while, exchanging stories and taking pictures. After a few hours, they decided they would leave. Only about 150 yards away from the cemetery, they had a snapping turtle on the road. Drew lost control of his bike, and they hit a tree. He only had minor injuries, but his girlfriend had broken her back and was paralyzed from the waist down. For Pete's sake, Drew, stay away from the cemetery, dude.
How many times do you have to be learned this lesson?
It takes him a few times. I mean, what the hell? Now, here's another story. In 1989, two high school girls were out having some fun on Halloween night. The news reported that their car went out of control about a quarter of a mile away from Blood Cemetery. Their car had plunged into Round Lake, and they both had drowned. Another story tells of a group of teenagers that went to visit the cemetery to see if the blood urban legend was true. They heard a growl-like sound and witnessed two glowing red eyes. Freaked out, the group decided to leave, but their car wouldn't move. As the story goes, the teens finally were able to get the car moving, but could not escape what they had seen in the cemetery. The whole time, they could see those red eyes chasing them, no matter how fast they drove. They crashed on Allwood Road and 127, and then an 18-wheeler crashed into them, killing all of them on impact, except for one girl. Now, there is story after story by people who had ventured into Blood Cemetery. Many have claimed to see the ghostly figure of an armless, headless woman in a long red dress. Some claim to have seen the ghost of Dr. Blood himself, carrying an axe and shotgun. Others report seeing the ghost of a man carrying the body of a woman whose head and arms are missing. Ghosts of the children, orbs, red eyes, growling sounds, and feeling as though they have been touched have been reported. Many have visited Blood Cemetery over the years, and many have left with stories to tell. But one thing they all say, never, ever go there alone.
Babe, what do you think about that?
What do you think about that?
I think it's totally nuts.
It's totally nuts. Now, it can be all made up and all that kind of shit, but this place does exist.
This place does exist, and it did belong to the Blood family. There has been some research done. There was a Dr. Blood that lived in the area. From what I can recall, they found out that he was a chiropractor.
The crazed chiropractor.
Right? So,
No wonder he went for the head.
so quite likely an urban legend, but still quite chilling story nonetheless.
Yeah.
And I have to give props to Rebecca Hires again. She brought this up. We were out discussing some other stories, and she asked me if I had ever heard of Blood Cemetery, and I was like, no. And of course I had to look into it, and I was not disappointed.
That Rebecca. I don't think there's much she doesn't know.
She is a data bank, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. She's her own news archive. That's what I have to say about
She's
Rebecca.
our archive.
She is.
We can go to her with all kinds of questions, and she'll have the answer.
Yeah, have you heard about this? She's like, well, in fact, yes, I have. And here's the data.
Right.
Yep.
So we're going to check it out, right?
We are.
Yeah.
In fact, we're going to do a video. You know what? Maybe we should do a live show.
A live show.
I think we could.
We probably could.
I think we should. Damn it, it's settled. This Saturday, what's the date, love?
This Saturday is the 14th.
This Saturday's the 14th. Now, what time do you think we should head out?
Well, I don't know, because I was on the Google net, and I couldn't get a clear explanation if the cemetery was even open to the public. Now, one of the articles, the guy Drew, he said that they have it barricaded now with hurricane wire around the property to keep people out. Now, I don't know if that's true. I didn't see anything else written anywhere about it not being available to the public. I'm assuming we probably should go during the day because, as most cemeteries request, they don't want people lingering at night. So out of respect, maybe we should go during the day. But we should take our EVP. Yeah, we should take that with us.
All right. Well, that kind of eases the pressure because, to be honest with you, to be out there in pitch black is... to be honest, is a butt pucker. And I'm already a little bit scared. But if we're going to go during the day to make sure we get in, then that way people can see what we see.
Yeah, they can see what we see. And who knows, maybe we'll see something. This cemetery actually has reviews, too. It's got 4.5 stars out of 5.
What the hell are they judging it on?
It's, okay. Well, I guess experience, but...
it was a pleasant experience?
Yeah, so like I said, 4 out of 5 stars, that's pretty good. I just want to read a couple of these. Okay, so here's one. This lady, she says, I have visited Blood Cemetery at night and walked through it with a friend. A large headstone with blood on it felt warm to the touch. Blood on the headstone.
And she touched it. Brave.
And the others were cold. I continued to walk over to a large tree, which they believe was the tree that Dr. Blood hung himself from, and she felt a hand on her shoulder. She then spoke and said, I understand.
The spirit? No,
she said that to the spirit. I understand. Because he was like saying, hey, leave me alone, I'm hanging here. So that's that review. One guy says, I only gave it 3 out of 5 stars because it wasn't very lively. Well, it's a cemetery, so.
Okay, so I guess nothing much happened to this guy.
Yeah. Another guy said, I only gave it 1 star because nothing happened. But we should check on this dude to see if he's still alive.
Right.
Right? So, yeah, that was a fun story.
Well, I think maybe what we could do, at least get out there during the day, feel it out, do a live show, and see if we got the moxie and go back at night. We'll have to really scope it out.
We'll have to scope it out.
I mean, people are going there at night.
People are going there at night.
So we could probably make that happen.
Yeah.
We should probably go at night.
These are some old tombstones, too. And they all say blood on them.
So it's truly just a family cemetery. There's no one currently being put in the ground.
I believe so, yep.
Okay.
So it's family or family of family, one way or another.
All within the bloodline.
Yep. All within the bloodline. You know what?
Wink, wink.
That's creepy enough, just having the last name Blood and then to have this story attached to it.
That would be a really cool last name, though.
Right. And when Rebecca brought it up, and she said, have you heard about Blood Cemetery? I'm thinking, okay,
Tell me more about the blood
has
at the
something to
cemetery.
do. Well, obviously it does, but
Right.
the dude's name was Blood.
Yeah.
The family.
Yeah.
So
So if we go there during the day, we can map out our path,
right.
right?
And we got to figure, it was right next door to the mansion, so we'll have to try and figure out which side of the cemetery that mansion was at.
Right.
It's gonna be hot.
Shit.
It's gonna be 77.
Hey, 77's good. It's not hot.
A lot of our fans down in Florida are probably going, hot. That's cold. That's sweater weather.
I know. Sweater weather. Well, cool. I'm very excited. Great story. Thank you, hon. And also, thank you, Rebecca. So, video of our jaunt through Blood Cemetery coming up.
Our first.
Our first.
Yeah.
We're going to have daytime. And if we're lucky, nighttime.
Nighttime.
And I might scream.
You will definitely scream.
And if I get really scared, I'm going to run in place. You know this.
The Scooby-Doo run.
Yes. It's absolutely out of my control. I don't know why I do it, but I do. All right. You want to sign us out, hon?
I sure do. You better lock your doors. You better lock your windows. And you might want to check under your bed.
And if I find an axe under there, I'm taking it with me to the cemetery. Fuck it. Well, thank you, everyone.
Thanks, everybody. And we will see you again on Malice Monday.
See you on Monday.